Welcome to Dreamers and Winners podcast with your host, T.R. Burns. And we have a great show for you today. We're going to do a part 2 of the dark side of entrepreneurship, mental health. We've had such a great, response. Many listeners, downloads, subscribers. So I said, let me, do a second part to this because I didn't really get deep and I didn't have no one else to talk to me about it, to kind of share their thoughts on mental health as an entrepreneur. So I have a great show for you today because I have a very important person in my life that has helped me through and been just a real good support system, consistent. And they themselves have seen me go through the mental health challenges as an entrepreneur, and they themselves have experienced mental health challenges. And so in a few seconds, we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back with my guests. Welcome back to Dreamers and Winners podcast with your host, T.R. Burns. And today we have a special guest all the way from Tennessee. Her name is Shakeerah Macpherson. She has been a business manager of mine and just a partner in everything I've done for the last almost 10 years we going on today. So I want to bring her on and hello, Shakeerah.
Hi everyone. I'm excited to be here and share my take on mental health because it is important. And just, I guess you want me to share a little bit about myself?
Yeah, a little. Tell my audience about yourself, your podcast, what you do for me, what you do for yourself and others.
Yes. So I am the podcaster, head podcaster for I'm Not 20 Anymore, which is a platform for men and women over the ages of 30 plus and dealing with the things that we go through. As you get older, you start realizing everything's not the same as when you were 20, and you don't feel the same, you don't act the same, and you definitely aren't on the same page. So we discuss mental health, we discuss relationships, we discuss marriage, parenting, and so much more. And sometimes I do have some special guests for the areas that I may not be that expertise at. So I'm Not 20 Anymore is the podcast that I host. I also have managed several businesses with Mr. T.R. Burns, and it's from restaurants to media and music, entertainment, also ministry, which I don't manage, of course, that's God. but even that is how we initially connected, and through that just continue to build relationships and him guide me and I sometimes offer advice for the other areas in his businesses. So I'm really excited to be here and just know that this is something that we all need to just continue to have a good conversation about because it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very necessary because we go through so much as entrepreneurs, depression, loneliness, isolation. And a lot of times we do not have people that we can vent to. And I know people say, well, you can go to therapists. But the truth is, a lot of entrepreneurs don't have health insurance because they are bootstrapping, because they are taking what they have to pursue their dream to live a better life in the hopes that it will pan out. And can't say I haven't done that. And I'm not saying that it's not wise, but at some point you have to put your health first. You have to put what you are, you got to put yourself first so that you can live a healthy life, And so, one of the things that Shakeerah has been very great at is being a consistent person through the different trimesters and moments of my entrepreneurship. As she did share, we met in ministry. She came into my church as a member. And from there, we developed a great relationship. She developed a great relationship with me and my wife and my kids. They see her as their aunt. I trust her a lot. And I don't say that lightly because she knows I don't trust everybody, especially my children and my family and in my house, in my personal things. So, but I think that at that moment when Shakeerah came in, I was in a shifting point spiritually, naturally, and mentally. And we always need people that to help us kind of, they may not be the leader of the thing, but they understand how to carry what we say, whether it be challenging or something that they don't understand, but understand how to be a part to carry something. Because at that point, there's a reason why they're being asked, because the person can't carry it right now. And
I think it's important to make sure that, that's why people should have a circle check, right? Because sometimes you don't have a whole circle of support around you. Sometimes it's one person. Sometimes you never even expected that person to be the person.
Yep.
Or sometimes, as an entrepreneur, you think that you can conquer everything yourself because you've been doing it by yourself. You've been, grinding it out, or maybe you and your spouse, y'all been focused and trying to do everything. But sometimes it's just that sometimes you need another voice. In addition to the voice of God, you also need another voice that's here that can say, wait a minute, listen, you need to take a break because you're burning yourself out. You need to, get some rest or take a vacation or just change the scenery that you're in. Maybe you need to relocate, whatever that case may be, because sometimes we think that we can all handle it ourselves. And that's where everything kind of piles up, where unfortunately some people get to that nervous breakdown.
Yep. And, I think it's also too, sometimes we as entrepreneurs, we don't have what we see in TV. You see on TV, people say, hey, I'm going to start me a business. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to pursue things. And their mother, father, aunts come with money and time and encouragement. That's on television, right? But the reality is many of us as entrepreneurs, the minute that we pursued something that people did not understand, they shunned or isolated, or they was very critical to the point where we self-isolated ourselves because we didn't feel like dealing with them feelings of what they were saying, because we was already struggling within ourselves the obedience factor of what we are called to pursue. Right. So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You jump in.
Then you have that point where you kind of, and I shared this in one of my upcoming podcasts, is you have that point where you kind of hate going around your family members. You hate, interacting with certain friends and certain family because they don't understand what you're going through. And you can't explain that because they are working a 9 to 5 and that's all that they know. The only family members that have that support system that you mentioned, like on TV, are those that are aligned, have a long lineage of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And
my dad had his own business. My mom had her own business, but other than that, nobody else understands.
And that's where we have to understand what Shakeerah was saying about checking your circle, because everybody that's around is not a part of your circle. Some people are lingering, and some people are eager to participate and be in the circle. So on a football field, a baseball field, you have a lot of people there, but the only people that you can depend on to win the game is the coach and your teammates that have practiced with you. They have been hit with you. They have eaten with you. They have heard the screaming of the coach when y'all have lost with you. But the fans have an expectation to be entertained. They have the expectation that if you are not entertaining, or if they don't understand what you're doing, they will leave you. They will abandon you. And so you have a whole bunch of fans, a whole bunch of people on the field that are only cheering when you win. And it's only the few select people that is on the field with you that understand the pain of losing and have to, and willing to get up again at 3 a.m. to throw the ball to get it right. So we have to examine that, because sometimes our mental health challenges are a result of the people that we have assumed is a part of a circle. And we want them to be what we need them to be, but they are unqualified. They're just a fan. And that could be your mother, your father, that's where the hardship comes in at, because you struggle with that because it is a person that you want to be on the team with you, but they are unqualified.
Right. And it's really good you mentioned that when they lose on the football field, because that's the other piece that kind of coincides with the mental aspect of an entrepreneur is the failures that come along with being an entrepreneur, and that every idea may not be the idea that's going to take you to the next level. And so sometimes there becomes that mental struggle, because then you're like, am I supposed to be doing this? Should I be doing this? Is this really what God said? This is where the gift that I have, I'm supposed to share with the world. Because when those failures happen, it's not to deter you so that now you can blame it on yourself. It's okay, maybe there's a lesson in this failure, because I didn't fail. It's a lesson. And sometimes I may not be able to have anyone to share that with unless I start to change my circle so that I can deal with fellow entrepreneurs that may be going through some failures or may have already passed that, and they can provide me with some wisdom on what should I do next.
And the challenge with failure is to separate feelings from facts. I know for me, the feelings from facts, because the feeling of failure can detour you from the facts of failure. The facts of failure is the educator. The feelings will leave. It's like today I want chicken, tomorrow I want steak. But the facts of failure will stay, and that will be the building blocks for success. And that's where the challenge comes in at, because it's funny how we fail in front of people that we want to win in front of. But God sometimes allowed that to be so that it can be exposed that them are not our teammates. Because, for me, you got people that will be around when you're winning. When you're winning, they're there. You can't stop them. You can't pay them to leave you. But when something doesn't seem like it's beneficial, or it may hit them, the repercussions of it, then they abandon that person. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck at, because then now if we don't deal with the feelings of failure and the facts of failure, then what now is our motivation is perverted, because now our motivation becomes, let me prove to them that I'm not a failure, instead of let me understand the facts of the failure and let me continue the mission of God in my life that I'm on this road to achieve. And that one person should not be able to pervert this, because there's millions that will be blessed by me continuing on. Even though I failed, I am not a failure. And so we struggle with that, because many times our spectators and fans are ignorant. They don't have any discernment of when they say something, how to say it. They just come out and blurt it out, not knowing that your ignorance can discourage your solutionness. So you're ignorant. This is the thing with families, right? Many times, especially in the African-American family, I would say that there's a pride. There's a pride not to really want to acknowledge that this person in our family is the solver of our problems. And we are called to get behind them. Instead, we're going to compete with them because they're younger than us. We don't like them. We are intimidated by them. And so many times people stay in poverty. They stay in sickness. They stay in disease because they will not get behind the Joseph of their life. They will not get behind the Joseph.
Some people don't know how to clap for you.
No. And they don't understand the clap reverberates to them.
Right.
So, that's a big challenge. That's a big challenge mentally for us, because we don't know how to deal with that. We don't know how to deal with it. I know you've been on a journey, for your life, share that, your mental journey, a little bit to our listeners.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we're on the Dreamers and Winners podcast, but a lot of times that's what it is. You have these dreams of things that you're supposed to be doing, and you know you're supposed to be doing it. And so you go after that, and then, you know, it doesn't work or whatever. Especially for me, I have definitely had a lot of ideas since I was younger of things that I knew I wanted to do and work for myself and um, be my own boss, even in media or whether it was, I always wanted to write a book, you know, but then throughout those times, I've shared it with the wrong people. And by doing that, it discouraged me um, and allowed me to be able to just say, well, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm just going to kind of give it up, you know, because then you start to think lesser of yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes your confidence in you can deplete or diminish just because of the people around you. And I think for me, for many years, that's what happened because I never had people that saw, never had a lot of people that saw any greatness beyond get a job, come home, go, you know, eat, sleep, do it again, and repeat, you know. And when reality is, you know that you're supposed to be doing so much more. And and then what happens is you go into a depression, like because for me, I am one of those people that um, if I'm not doing something fulfilling, uh, when it comes to helping people or, you know, sharing what I know, teaching, whatever it is that I know that I can help with, for me, I die inside. And so that whole rigmarole of go to work, come home, go to sleep, eat, go to work, come home, go to sleep, eat is becomes just um, so monotonous that it just allows me to be able to kind of like die, you know. And I think that that's what ends up happening. And even with some entrepreneurs, they'll be like, I had my own business for umpteen amount of years, and then I just decided to get a job because I feel like my failure succeeded over who I know I'm supposed to be.
Let me jump
And
in.
so,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Let me jump in on that part too, because that is a common thing. You know, resume and history will produce mediocrity and the spirit of settling. A lot of times when we first started this road, you know, I've been an entrepreneur for over, you know, since I was 19, 20 years old. I'm 43 years old. And then you could take but so many hits, so many tackles, so many broken bones, so much rejection, you know, and you always living in that hope tomorrow is going to happen. And then when tomorrow comes, you just got more bankruptcy, more debt, more money, and then you still don't have the support system that you've been praying or you desire. So then you get to that point where you say, okay, I do believe in my dreams, but I don't want to die broke, especially you got kids or you have, you know, people that you bring into this world that are depending on you. You say, okay, well, I'm gonna get a job. You know, I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna force myself to do this thing, and then maybe everybody will leave me alone and see and start to at least give me some of the embrace that I want. But we are settling because our dreams are and our purpose will constantly be calling us, you know.
Right.
But it's hard. It's hard because, you know, like, I mean, I could have, you know, I've had so much money, you know, come through my life, but I've given a lot away. I've helped a lot of people. And that's what my critics don't see. You know, I've helped them and they still don't see that. And if I was self-centered and selfish, I might be further, but would I be in my purpose? You know what I'm saying? So that settlement.
You would still always have that burning. I don't care who you are. If you're listening and you are in that wishy-washy, what do I do? There will always be that deep down little burning piece of flame that have not gone out because you're not walking in what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yep. And I've been there, and Shakeerah been there with me, my wife been around, it's hard. I be honest, I'm in there right now. I'm in the point where, hey, should I stop doing these restaurants, stop doing everything and just work for somebody? It seems simpler. It seems that what everybody wants to do, because when you're an entrepreneur, and I was sharing out yesterday on my live, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, I am TR Burns. I was saying that people don't understand there's a difference between leadership and being a follower.
Mm-hmm.
And people downplay followers, but followers are called by God too. And be the best follower you can be. But a leader is expected to lead on a higher level than a follower. Right. And so people will say, Terrence, you need to take vacations, you need to do this, not understanding the responsibilities of running a business, and you're already short-staffed. And this is your livelihood, how you take care of your family and how you take care of yourself, and others depend on you. So sometimes there can't be a balance. It's just impossible because, balance means in theory is good, but can you do it? You got to have people in place, because you can go and take a vacation and come back to something that's not going to be there because you don't have people in place. You don't have things in place. So you have all these people that say what you should do, and they're critical of that, but they themselves have no resume of why you should listen to them. They have nothing that you can critique, nothing that you want from them. Only thing they can give is an opinion that has not been founded.
Right. Not even any help. Like
not even an assistance. Hey, I'll work the day shift for you while you take a break. No, none of that. No, just looking for a way to discredit what you're doing, because I call it in my book that I'm working on, frustrated students. They should be following you. They should be a follower. They should be helping you. They should be partnering with you. But instead, they're a frustrated student because they're mad at God, that God said, you the one to lead them. You the one to teach them. They don't want to deal with that. So that's another frustrated thing with entrepreneurs' mental health, because we know the Judases, we know the Peters, we know the people God sent that are not obeying, but got the nerve to be vocal to try to get us to because some people want us to stop, so that they think if we stop, the Spirit of God and the feeling of what they got to do for us will stop. They don't have to obey. Because I'm telling you all here, some of you entrepreneurs are going through some mental challenges because some of your family, your friends, and people did not partner in with you like they were supposed to. They did not become a financier. They did not give up. They did not come in and work a few hours in your business. That's why they're so hard on you giving up, because the conviction is there. Every time you keep on going, you convicting the heck out of them.
Right. Because remember, there's always people before you, sometimes in your same bloodline, that was called to do something as in the entrepreneur field that they didn't do.
Yep.
So they're sitting there like, wait a minute, if they're doing it and I didn't do it, now I got to sit with the guilt. Let me
shift to this too. No matter how much you want their acceptance, and this is I've experienced this, right? Mm-hmm. Do not offer your services for nothing. Do not let them use you, because that's a part of mental health too. Being able to know your value is in your service and people paying for it, or people honoring that service. So I've had family members and people use me to the fullest. And I did it because I wanted to see them succeed, but I also wanted them to validate me, and they didn't. And it hurt me. So I would have been better off charging them and not getting the validation, but at least I got the money. So always,
the family discount, let it go. Like, business is business, and they have to, in order for them to respect you and what you do, you charge them just like you would charge anybody else. Because once you get that discount, they're coming back every time for the same discount, or don't want to pay at all. and you're valuable. Your time is valuable. Your anything that you do is valuable, and they have to respect that.
And you have to respect that yourself, because, that's the struggle, because